All right, picture this. The year's 2008, all right? Everybody's listening on their iPod Nanos to crank that Soulja Boy so when they go to the dance or homecoming, they won't look like a complete idiot, you know? You ride your Razor scooter to school, and then all of a sudden you notice everybody's freaking out. Everybody's going insane because Twilight just dropped. Now, I don't think I could truly describe the pure mayhem that happened whenever Twilight dropped. You really had to live in like the perfect moment in order to really understand it. The year was 2008. I was just going into high school, so that means I'm surrounded by teenage girls. And what do teenage girls love more than anything at that very time? Twilight. And man, they did not stop talking about it. This could also be a byproduct of the fact that I have two sisters. And then all of a sudden, people started getting interested in reading books. I'm not a nerd. Disregard the books back there. I don't read those. That's just for show. But after the hectic day of school of everyone trying to decide whether or not they're on Team Jacob or Team Edward, you go home, you get on your Xbox 360, boot up Modern Warfare 2, start playing with the boys with everyone spamming racist profanities in the voice chat. And then your sister walks in the door with all of her friends giggling, asking me if I'm Team Edward or Team Jacob. And I've always actively avoided watching this movie. I'm pretty certain I technically have seen all of it when I was younger, byproduct of just being around people who watch the movie. But this movie is a great example of about how something insanely mediocre can absolutely bang. Now, don't get me wrong, there was big hype behind the fact that it was already a very popular book series, so that had a lot to do with it. But the first Twilight movie hit $407 million in the box office, and it didn't stop there. The sequels doubled that. $709 million, $712 million, $698 million. In total, it grossed around $3.3 billion. Now, I remember seeing random clips and videos of Robert Pattinson talking about how he hates Twilight and how he didn't really enjoy it or didn't really like the product of it either. So I decided to watch the first movie with my wife so we could truly understand together what was going on. Why was this movie such a big deal? And I'll admit, it is the most entertaining piece of media I have watched in a while. And no, not because it's good, it's exciting or interesting. It's because it's goddamn hilarious. This movie has more heavy breathing than a shonen anime. Now, I don't necessarily think the premise of Twilight is bad. I mean, honestly, the book's probably good. I'm not going to say the book is bad. I mean, it's a bestseller, and now obviously that could be with, teenage girls in romance. But I just want to mention, I am just going to go over the first movie on this video. I'm not going to do the entire series. If you guys enjoy going through this with me and you want to see me do more of this series, like the video and let me know in the comments. I'd rather not. But before we get into this hot and sexy movie, let's talk about something that's a little bit more hot and sexy. Raycon earbuds. Raycon is a company that I am no stranger to. I've actually had their earbuds for quite a long time. I would say almost 3 years, and they've never let me down. And the everyday earbuds that I am wearing right here look and feel and sound better than ever. They got the optimized gel fit. You get to swing your head all around. It ain't falling. That's gonna stick in. That's gonna stay right in there, baby. It's got 8 hours of playtime, 32-hour battery life. You get that quality of the top audio brands at half the price. And if you don't trust me, trust the over 50,000 5-star reviews that Raycon has. It's Siri and Alexa compatible. There are 3 different customizable sound profiles for your own preferences. It also has a noise isolation and a noise awareness mode, which is really convenient. If you're like doing chores or something like that and you need to hear what's going on outside of you in case someone needs your attention, or if you're going on a run, you need to make sure you can hear stuff around you. You got the awareness mode. So do yourself a favor, go to buyraycon.com/bionicpig or go to the link in the description to get 15% off your Raycon purchase today. So I'm sure by now everyone basically knows the premise of Twilight. Bella's like the geeky shy girl, and then Edward's like the creepy vampire guy, and they start mixing and matching their genes together and stuff. But the reason this movie is so hilarious is because, Hollywood always gets romance movies completely wrong. And this is just a shining example of how absolutely terrible they made this romance. Pretty much the entire first movie is Edward being a complete stalker, a weirdo, creep, and Bella enjoying it. And I don't really know if the director chose this route, but the heavy breathing, man. What is with the heavy breathing in this movie? So the movie starts out with a wide shot of a deer drinking out of a stream. And all of a sudden, the deer gets spooked and starts running, and the camera starts shaking everywhere. And then a dude tackles the deer. This movie has sunk its teeth into you and is holding on for dear life. Like, you're in after this point. I mean, how do you not want to know what's going to happen after this, right? I mean, is it a dude that enjoys hunting deer, but just likes tackling them instead of shooting them? I don't know. So Bella's going to stay with her dad because her mom and her new boyfriend are going on a road trip or something like that. And it's been a long time, so there's like the little awkward silences and awkwardness with them too. And then we get introduced to the sexy boy Jacob. Now, honestly, I prefer this version of Jacob over the future versions of Jacob where he's like absolutely shredded with short hair. I like this Jacob the best. I'm just saying. And obviously right off the bat, we could see that Jacob, you know, he's got a little thing for Bella. You know, we could see, the viewer can see, but Bella can't see. So Bella gets to school and instantly gets bullied by a dude who says, "Nice ride."
Nice ride.
Thanks.
So instantly everyone wants Bella. Jacob wants Bella. The basketball dude wants Bella. The news dude wants Bella. Everybody wanting Bella. And then we even get some hilarious sexual harassment of a random dude who jumps out and kisses Bella on the cheek. So pretty much every dude in the school is just trying to get in Bella's pants at this point. So, I mean, it's a good start. And then, all of a sudden, everything goes quiet when the Cullens walk in. And it's weird because everyone is like weirded out by him, but also sexually attracted to all of them at the same time. And then whenever Edward walks in, that's when the real shit goes down. Everyone starts going, That's Edward. That's Edward. Fuck.
Totally gorgeous, obviously.
Like everyone's biting their lips at each other and breathing heavily at each other. It's all awkward. Oh God, I just farted. Hopefully no one notices. Oh my God, what the? This part is so funny because obviously if you've seen this, you know that like Edward really wants to sucky on her blood, but she just smells so good. But he treats it like she had some rancid ass fart that he just can't. Like, what direction was this? All right. When you see her, I want you to act like you just smelled the worst smell in your entire life. I want you to look like you're about to throw up. And so throughout the entire class, all Edward does is just stare her down. Damn, girl, that ass can fart. Damn, girl, sheesh, that ass can fart. I want me a girl like that. And I'll be honest, I feel like the only thing I actually like in this movie is the father-daughter situation with Bella. Honestly, the only relationship I care about is those two because it's just nice to see them like start bonding after a little while and stuff. And also because you could tell her and her mom have a great relationship, and so seeing her and her dad start bonding a bit more is nice. I like that part. And then Bella starts noticing that Edward stopped showing up to school. So in her head, she basically believes that she must have laid such a fat stanker that Edward just couldn't handle it for multiple days. And then we have a little bit more of Mike and Eric trying to get Bella to go to the dance with both of them. They're kind of fighting over her. A lot of guys are fighting over her, but she's not interested in them. She's interested in the dude who sniffed that stanker and enjoyed it so much. But she walks into her classroom and there he is. It's Edward Cullen, looking all weird and mysterious and sexy. Probably one of my favorite lines in this because it's a little bit foreshadowing is when Bella says she doesn't like cold and wet things. And then Edward lets out a little laugh because Edward's cold and he's also really wet. He's very wet. And then we get the part that changes everything. Bella was going to her truck, but all of a sudden the dude lost control of his van and poof, Edward came out of nowhere and stopped it with his bare hands, and they stare at each other longingly, sexually, breathing heavily. God, this movie gets me hot. And this is where Bella starts getting a little bit sus of Edward. So again, we get another awkward moment where Mike tries to ask her to the dance. Was actually so distracted by Edward's sexy stare that she didn't even acknowledge his question, his offer. So Bella goes to hang out with their friends who are planning on surfing, and then she runs into Jacob, who just happens to be there. Totally wasn't just spying on her the whole time. Pretty much everybody is just stalking Bella the whole time. But anyway, Jacob tells her the story about how his clan ancestors were wolves, and they have a treaty with the Cullens about, like, you know, the vampire wolf thing. You get it. You know what happens. And then Bella does some Google research to figure out what Edward truly is. So the next day, Bella goes shopping with her friends and ends up walking home alone and runs into some douches who are trying to, do stuff to her. And then Edward appears out of nowhere and tells her to get into the car. And so we get two confirmations that not only Jacob, but also Edward is continuously stalking her. And then when she confronted him with it, he admitted, yeah, I was following you, but I was just trying to keep my distance, you know, in case you needed help. A very normal thing for people to do to someone else who they like. Well, of course I was following you around. I was keeping my distance to make sure if you ever needed my help, my lady. So this is what I'm talking about with how, like, romance is always done wrong. Like, this is one of the most popular romance movies of ever. And all it has is two dudes who just creepily stalk Bella, and Bella enjoys it. Bella's like interested in it. That's not good. That's not a good thing to show. Like, sure, I know he's a vampire and shit, but still. You know, I just like to imagine young people out there just being like, gosh, I wish I had an Edward who stalked me whenever I needed help. And not only that, but she also finds out that Edward can read everyone's mind except her. So basically what Edward is trying to say is that she's not like other girls. We get some more heavy breathing, which everyone likes. So on the way of Edward taking Bella back home, they stumble upon a bunch of cops. And so Bella gets out, and Edward also sees his dad, Carlisle, there. And they find out that Wayland, who is Bella's dad's friend, was murdered. And there was a scene earlier that showed that it was different vampires that ended up murdering Wayland. So it wasn't the Cullens. But obviously they're labeling it as an animal attack.
He died?
And so after a little bit more research and kind of putting the pieces together, Bella finally discovers what Edward truly is.
Out loud. Say it. Heisenberg, you're goddamn right.
And then we get another scene that is chock full of just deep, heavy breathing, lip biting, because Edward finally shows his true colors, his glitter colors. But Bella's not afraid, ladies and gentlemen. No. She's horny. She's horny for that vampy dick. And then we get the epic running scene of Edward carrying her up the mountain. And I've always thought that this just looked goddamn hilarious. I remember seeing the behind the scenes, and it was like a cable attached to them, and they just like swung them close to the ground while they just moved their legs slowly, and it just looked so unnatural. But anyway, Edward shows her his glitter nips. And then Edward goes around and starts bragging about how epic he is. As if you could outrun me, runs really fast. As if you could outfight me, grabs a branch, throws it against a tree. Yeah, you like that, bitch? Yeah. Yeah, you like that? And then she does. She does like it a lot. It's normal. This is normal. So the next scene, Bella goes to meet Edward's family, and then Edward takes her up to his room, and they do a little more heavy breathing. They just breathe a little bit. They just breathe. They breathe. They breathe. They talk about Debussy, Claire de Lune, and then they just started like slow dancing, and Bella's like, oh, stop, I can't dance. And he's like, I'll make you dance. And he grabs her and starts climbing a tree. Is that dancing? Is that dancing? So Bella's just chilling in her room, you know, minding her own business. And then poof, Edward shows up. And her first question, I mean, first of all, even leaning into asking this question is kind of ridiculous. But the first question she asks is, do you do that a lot? And his response is, yeah, for a couple months, you know. Just pop into your room, watch you sleep. You know, I like it. I like watching you sleep. There's nothing weird about that. It's romance. It's romantic. What, you guys don't do that to your crush? You know, the crush that you've never talked to before? You don't just pop into their window and watch them sleep? Just me? And then after he admits that he's been watching her sleep consistently throughout a couple months, he tries to kiss her, or as I like to call it, nose nudge. Sit there really close and just like nudge each other's nose. And eventually their lips finally caress each other. And then they just start yeah. and then he can't handle it and then backs off. And this next scene is basically just showing off vampire abilities and powers by playing baseball. They play baseball during a thunderstorm because they hit the ball so freaking hard it sounds like thunder. And then we see all of them like run really fast and throw the ball really hard and hit the ball really hard. And then the bad vampires float on screen. And when I say float on screen, I mean just look at this. They're not walking. They're not using their leg. Is that a new ability the vampires have? Is just floating? I mean, I don't think there's any vampire in Twilight that could just fly. They're literally just floating. But anyway, 3 bad vampires, you know, vampires that actually eat humans because the Cullens don't eat humans. You know, the ones who killed her dad's friend appear in the picture. And obviously it's a bad thing because Bella's there and she's a human. And what starts out as a cordial little fun thing where they're going to have 3 extra players and play baseball together turns into a bad situation because, you know, they smell a human. And then whenever he smells Bella, they all start hissing at each other.
A human?
I don't know why it's just so funny looking at all of them like hiss. Like, don't get me wrong, I know they're supposed to be vampires and stuff, but just watching all of them just go it's so funny. So Edward takes Bella and runs away because James, the blonde one, Edward read his mind and apparently he's planning on tracking Bella in order to kill her. So their solution is kill him, rip him apart, and burn the pieces. You know, just a classic thing to do. So Bella, in order to protect her dad, lies and says that she can't be in this town anymore and she has to leave, which makes her dad upset. But one of the 3 vampires actually came to warn Carlisle about James and Victoria. They come up with a plan in order to get Bella into safety. But unfortunately, Tracker went to Bella's mom's house and called her from her mom's cell phone in order to bait her into believing that that was actually her mom. But I remember early on when her mom talked about how she lost her phone. So, I mean, the foreshadowing was there that he didn't actually have her mom. But anyway, she fell for the bait and went by herself to James in order to protect her mom. And then she found out, obviously, James was lying and blah, blah, blah. Edward comes in there all badass, like, I'm strong enough to kill you. And we get this badass fight. And just Edward throwing and he's punching and shit. So anyway, they rip up James's body parts and throw him in a fire. And I don't know how they made a fire appear that fast, but somehow they did. And Bella's over there freaking out because she got bit by the guy. And now Edward has to make the decision of his life. Is he going to be able to have the power, the willpower to stop from sucking all of her juices up? So anyway, in the end, Bella does survive. He sucks out all of the vampiric poison in her body. And then Edward takes her to the dance. And while they're dancing by themselves, Bella's like, why didn't you just let me turn into a vampire? Because then we could be together forever. And then he's like, yeah, I'll do it right now. And then he's like, just kidding. Foreshadowing, cliffhanger for the next movie. You know, that shit. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's Twilight. A heavy breathing hilarity mess of funny fun time. Still to this day, don't understand how any person ever would find anything in this romantic at all. Oh, he found the willpower to stop sucking her blood. Any Twilight stands, I want you to leave a angry, paragraph-long essay about why I'm wrong and why this movie's actually good. Because I want to read them. Because that's going to be entertainment for me. Do it. Thank you so much for watching this video, though. If you enjoyed it, please like the video. If you guys want me to review the second one, you know, or the third one or whatever, let me know in the comments below. Boy, this is a fun ride. See you next time.